Vasudevaya. So welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. Srimad Bhagavatam Daily Study. Happy Ram Navami Mahotsava continuing on. Haribo, Haribo. So we're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 85, beginning with, we're doing text number 8 and text number 9. Tarpanam prananam apam devam tvam tascha tad rasaha ojasaho bhalam chesta gatirvayos tadeshwara. Tarpanam means the capacity to generate satisfaction. Prananam, the giving of life. Apam, of water. Deva means, O Lord. Tvam means you. Taha, the water itself. And I'll just read rasa, taste, oja, bodily warmth, vitality, saha, mental strength, balam, physical strength, chesta, endeavor, gati, movement, vayu, air, and tava, ishvara, your, O supreme controller. So this is a translation. My Lord, you are the water, and also its taste and its capacities to quench thirst and sustain life. You exhibit your potencies through the manifestations of air as bodily warmth, vitality, mental power, strength, endeavor, and movement. Does any of this remind you of any particular chapter of the Bhagavad Gita? So he says, Apam tadrasaha rasoham apsukunteya. You're the pure taste and water. And then you are the oja, the 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 uh, the bodily warmth, the vitality, the mental strength that is there in the prana. You are all these different things that we all the opulences are vibhutis. So that is first text. No, no purport there, except for the acharya. Some of the acharyas have, um, like Sanat Goswami, he has written something on this verse. So here's a question. He writes, "How can I be in so many forms?" He says, "Oh Lord, you play in many forms. All these powers exist in you. Your powers are inconceivable. Ojas, Sahabala are the Shaktis of the mind, senses, and body, respectively." So Ojas is the Shakti of the mind. You have good, healthy Ojas. You have a healthy aura. Your mind is working well. You have healthy intellectual digestion. You could have unhealthy intellectual digestion. You remember the things you're trying to forget, and you forget the things you're trying to remember. We don't want to have that. We want to have that good ojas. In Ayurveda, there says a way that depletes ojas is anxiety and overindulgence in sexual activities. These two things deplete ojas. So ojas saha, power of the senses, and bala, power of the body. Or it says Ojas is the power to be victorious over us. Saha is the power to pervade inside and outside, and Balam, the power to destroy. Teshta is the power of the eyes. Gati is quickness. One version has tata instead of tava. Okay, that's yeah. We have Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. He says basically the same thing. And now we'll begin text number 9. Disham tvam avakashosi dishakam spota ashraya nado varnas tvam omkara akirtinam pritakriti. You are the directions and their accommodating capacity, the all-pervading ether and the elemental sound residing within it. You're the primeval, unmanifested form of sound. So uh, you have this Shabda ke Parusham Nashu. You are the Shabda, the sound, within ether. This is what chapter is that? Sabdake Parashabda Punyaganda Pratibam Cha Tejas Tasvi Vibhava Shojivanam Sarvabhuteshu Tapas Jasmitab. This is chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Gita. Like the previous verse, this is very much like chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Gita. So in chapter 7 Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Shabda Ke Parushamna that I am the sound within ether. So what is ether? Mike Crawley says on mute space, I think. So it's yeah, so ether is now wait a minute. How does sound travel through space? Doesn't it need oxygen? Isn't that Vayu, the air element? And so we're gonna find the answer for that. Uh, this answer is also given by Baladev Vibhushan in his comments on the Bhagavad Gita on this section. And he's going to basically repeat the same purport that you're going to find here in this. It's very, very interesting. Um, well, you could also say space is not just absence of anything. It's actually a substance. That's one thing. It is something, it has substantial quality. It is an element. The it is the kind of space or ether is the intermediary between the physical and the subtle, the mind, the intelligence, the false ego, the subtle body, and the physical body. That's the intermediary. Is this space? You could say the aura, the rest upon this element of space, or and so we'll hear what it says here. The Continue with the verse. You are the primeval, unmanifested form of sound. The first syllable Om, an audible speech, by which sound and as words acquires particular references. So there's two words in the verse, Pota and Varna. There's actually a philosophical debate between the Mimamsakas and I don't know who their opponent is, but and it's kind of hard to figure out what the actual conclusion is. But spota means like an explosion, that the sound kind of there's a like a meaning right there within the sound itself, and varna is like the syllables, and varna one could say that varnavad means everything has to be perfectly like the Vedas, everything has to be perfectly chanted, and spota means like there's like the light bulb goes off, there's meaning already inside them. um, uh, and of course, we know Krishna is behind all of that. So Krishna is the original spotar. He's the one that brings out everything. But let's just continue. Purport. In accordance to the general proper process of creation, speech always becomes audible in stages, which proceed from the inner subtle impulse to the outward expression. These stages are mentioned in the mantras of the Rig Veda. Chatvari vat parimita padari tanur vidu brahmanaye manishinaha guya yam chini ihintani lengayati yanti turyam vacho manusha vadanti. The discriminating brahmanas know the four progressive stages of language. The three of these remain hidden within the heart as imperceptible vibrations, while the fourth stage is what people ordinarily understand as speech. And so Baladev Vibhushan describes this in his commentary on the Bhagavad Gita called the Gita Bhushana, Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, text number 8. He says sound comes in four stages. You have the first stage is called para, and this it's a subtlest stage of sound, and it arises in the prana in the Muladhara chakra, the first chakra at the base of the spine. And the second stage of sound is called pashanti. Pashanti, you know this word means to see, appears on the mental level and arises in the Puraka chakra, the third chakra in the navel area. Ramananda, have a good day. The third stage of sound is madhyama, which arises at the intellectual level. You have like very, very subconscious, then it's like it starts to be conceived in the mind, then it starts to be formulated by the intellect. That's in the fourth chakra near the heart area, Anahata chakra. And the fourth stage of sound is Vaikari, which arises in the throat as intelligible meaning of sentences. It comes out of the throat. That's the final expression of sound. So everyone can close their eyes uh, and just say in their mind, Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Ram. So do you say it just in your mind. Did you hear it? The reason you heard it is that it's sound. Sound is subtle. Even your senses, when they say senses, oftentimes we are assuming that it means the organs. Chapter 15 of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says this verse, Devam Shojiva Loke Jiva Shariram Yaravapnoti Yachapir Urkama Tishvaraha Grihe Petani Samyati Vayur Gandharvashaya. The living entity, uh, he carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another. And thus, so this is now in the verse, if you look at the verse, you try to figure out what word is saying that he carries. He's carrying his different conceptions of life. And that actually comes from the previous verse where it has this word karshati. Karshati says, we say the struggle of material existence, but it also means the struggle, the burden of carrying something like a prisoner is carrying a ball and chain. We're carrying our body, our subtle body, our mind, and our senses with us from one body to another. So we're carrying our subtle senses. They're the organs of action, but we have our subtle senses. So we can envision things. You can hear things in our mind. We can envision things. We can envision taste. We can imagine flavors. All the senses are there within the mind, and so we're carrying that from one body to another. So, question for you: would you like to hear some Ram Kata? Ram Kata, or how about even better, Ram Servants Kata? All right, Jai. So, we're gonna hear about three monkeys, and we're gonna figure out which of the monkeys we are and which of the monkeys we want to be. Um, there was once a young girl. She came to her father and she's like, this elementary school is really hard. I don't know how. I don't think I'm gonna survive. It's so hard to make friends. I can't just. I don't. And this person's mean, and I just don't know how to deal with this. And his father, he was a cook, and he started putting. This is not a Vedic story here, but his father, her father, he said, okay, you see those three pots? Put water in them and start a boil. So she started a boil, and then she said, okay, in this pot put a potato, this pot put an egg, and this pot put coffee beans. You know? And then she said, okay. And then we said, and then after 30 minutes, it's okay, say, turn off the fire and let's see what happened. What happened to the potato? What happened to the egg? And what happened to the coffee beans? And so she took it out and she said, okay, they all cooked. No, but what happened? What happened to them? They said, well, the potato, it went in very hard, very strong, but it became it just fell apart after. It just completely fell apart. Now it's all mushed. The egg, had a kind of thin shell, but inside was all gooey. It was all soft. But it became hard through this thing. And the coffee beans, what happened to the coffee beans? They stayed the same, but they spread their flavor, their aroma around. And he said, which one would you like to be when the challenges come? They all approach the same challenge, this boiling water. Would you like to enter in strong and then come out very, very weak, very, very um, no strength? You become so emotional that you have no capacity to do anything. Or would you like to be like the egg? You come on very soft, but then you become very hard and like hard-hearted through that experience of challenge. Or you stay the same, and everywhere you go, you spread your own good flavor. So, with these three personalities are Vali, the brother of Sugriv. He is like the egg. In the beginning, he loved his brother. He loved his brother. Bali was when the Lord appeared, he sent all the demigods to appear in the various vanaras. Now, what does the word vanara mean? What does nara mean?
Person.
Person. So va nara. Is this a person? Vanara. Is this a person? That's the question. Is this a human being? And a vanara is like that. We don't know. Is this a human being? And the Vanaras themselves may ask, am I a human being? And so you have Vali. He was the loving brother, but due to some misunderstanding, he became like the egg, very hard. And Sugriv, he was very strong and powerful, but by the constant abuses of his brother, he became utterly pathetic and just crying all the time and in misery and anticipating trouble. And then you have Hanuman, who also faced challenges, but he always remained true to himself. And anyone who was around him was benefited by the flavor that he brought. He remained true. He's like the coffee beans. So there's a lot of symbolism, like just like in the Bhagavatam, you find there's actually a lot of meaning in the symbolism. Dasarath, and you have Dashana. Dashana is another name for uh, Ravana. Ravana has 10 heads, which means he has no control of his 10 senses. So you have the organs of action and the organs of perception. And he had no control of that. And then Dasarath is the one who had control. And if you have control of your senses, then God can take birth in your life. Just like in the uh, Srimad Bhagavatam, the purports, the acharyas explain that there's the six Garbhasuras within the womb of Devaki. And these were envy, lust, greed, and they're also expressed in another way. But if when those things become eradicated, Kamsa came, the fear of we become fearful of the unwanted qualities within ourselves and we eradicate those qualities, then who takes birth? Balaram is devotional service, and by devotional service then comes Krishna. So in the same way, we have this Dasarath. He is, the Rath. Dasarath means he can drive his chariot in 10 directions. He's very powerful, but it also means he has control of the 10 senses, and he can, therefore, he can. He has this quality that the Lord can appear within his kingdom. Ayodhya, the place. Yudha means to fight, where no one fights. Ayodhya was a very sanctified place. It's described that there are walls so high that the clouds couldn't even breach these walls. And not only could not be defeated by external enemies, it could not be defeated by internal enemies. Here, let me just show you that some of the Ramayana books that you can look at and read. So I have what you're going to hear today is mostly from a lecture of Shubha Vilas called Standing Strong from the DC Temple, Henry's Temple, Hari Hari Bol. So that this is some of his books. These, I think, maybe 6 volumes. I believe there's 6 cantos of the Ramayana. So these are 6 volumes. These are the first 3. But then let me just show you, what does it look like? I'm going to show you what does it look like. Just 2 cantos of the Ramayana. The first 2 cantos. Are you ready for this? Srila Prabhupada said he wanted the Ramayana translated like the Srimad Bhagavatam with Sanskrit, word for word, commentaries by the acharyas, the classical commentaries. And here I have the first two cantos of the Ramayana. One, two, three. It's what is this? Seven, 8 books. This is the first two cantos. They haven't. Yeah, it's second canto, part two. Yeah. So this is published by Rupa Raghunath Vani. Publication is one of the senior brahmacharis, I think, Pune and they're fulfilling Srila Prabhupada's desire to have the whole Ramayana done. But look at this. This is just two cantos of the Ramayana. And the cool thing is this book, it's going to be a couple $100 just for the get up to third canto, but you can get it on Kindle for extremely cheap. You can get like these 5 volumes for like $10. I don't know, it's very, very cheap on the Kindle. And you don't have to have a Kindle. You can just read it on the Kindle app on your phone or iPad, etc. So you have Ayodhya, which is what is Ayodhya? It is very, very civilized. Everyone is very refined. It's a place of culture. People are compassionate. And then what's on the opposite spectrum of that is Lanka. People are harsh and cruel and critical and envious. Yesterday we spoke about the flight of Hanuman to Lanka and the obstacles that came up. You had the Golden Mountain, which symbolized the obstacle of devotional service of opulence. You had the Suras, the dragon that came to swallow Ram, and she became bigger. He became bigger. He became bigger. She became bigger, and that represents this competitive pride. Oh, I'm such a good speaker. Oh, I'm such a good cook, so good. I'm dressed the deity so nice. Oh, I do so much service all the time. And I'm so much more dedicated. Blah 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 blah. We have this competitive pride. Hanuman became very small, and that's how he defeated her. Then you had the other one was the witch who grabbed onto his shadow. That was represents envy. And what envy means, you look at the darkest part of somebody and you try to bring them down. So she was called bringing Hanuman down from his flying above you. Envy, you don't like to see somebody doing well above you. So you try to bring them down. And so he, he was as he was flying to Lanka, and then the last one was Lankeshwari. She was the goddess of Lanka, and she challenged Hanuman and hit him, and he spoke very strongly. She said, "You're a thief. Why are you doing on my land?" And Hanuman said, "What are you talking about? You're supporting somebody who's kidnapped somebody else's wife. You're the thief." And that she represents bewilderment. So Lanka is the opposite, is full of insensitive people. And what's between Lanka and Ayodhya is Kishkinda, the Vanaras, the the ones in between. And that's like us. We're the sadhakas. We're in between. We're not fully rejecting Ram, uh, but or sometimes we're not sure. Should I surrender to Ram or should I just behave like an animal? This is the So Kishkinda is physically and mentally in between these two places. So as much as we behave like Ayodhya Vasis, we are humans. And much as we behave as the Lankans, we are monkeys. Oh, that's this. There's a spectrum there, and that's Vanara. Are we human? That's a question we have to ask. And so, uh, one day there was a panic. Nala, Tara, and Taru. Nila and Taru. These were the associates that were living with Sugriv on the island, the mountain of Rishamukh mountain. This mountain had been uh, basically a sanctuary for Sugriv because his brother had been tormenting him. He had once fought a humongous monster named Dundubi, and the blood of this fight splattered on that mountain, and a rishi named Matunga Rishi became so angry. He said, "If you ever come here, you're going to die." don't you ever come here. He was so upset at Vali because Vali was this brother was so powerful. Um, he would chant Gayatri. Uh, he would chant one Gayatri in each of the four oceans every morning, every noon, and every evening. So he would do 12 Gayatris like this. He would exercise by going north to south and a pole and going around the earth, and he was extremely powerful. So he fought this Dundubi demon, and the blood splattered on that mountain, and that mountain thus became a sanctuary for Sugriv to escape the the torment of his brother. He was tormented because there was a misunderstanding. He fought this one demon, and he, uh, of course, being of just like we said, there's Ayodhya, there's there's Kishkinda, and then there is Lanka. There's these kind of personalities. You have Hanuman, who is the great pure devotee. You have Sugriv, who is like the sadhaka, and then Vali, who's just like the person who is not interested in any at all taking shelter of the Lord. So this Vali, he wanted to fight the monster and have all the credit. So the monster had entered into a cave, and he told his brother, "Stand outside. If blood comes out white, then you know I have killed the demon. But if it comes out red, you know that I have been killed." So he goes and he fights, and he waits there for a year. His brother waits there kindly for a year, and eventually this. Uh, White blood starts to come out, and then it turns red. And so he's a little confused. He thinks, I think my brother is killed because this monster by his magic he turned his blood to change colors. And so he takes a giant mountain and he locks the cave there, and he goes back to Kishkinda, and the minister says, "Okay, now you should be king. We don't have a king. You should be king." And um, he's there ruling as the king. And then after some time, his extremely powerful brother, Bali, comes back. And this brother, he comes back and he just beats and beats his brother. He takes his wife and kicks him out of the kingdom, you know. And he takes shelter of this Rishikamuk mountain. No, not Rishikamuk mountain, but the Rishikamuk mountain, because that was where he Bali could not go. But as I said, as he chanted 12 Gayatris every day, when you see he's just doing the rituals, as he would jump and he would fly to the next ocean, he would fly over Rishimuk mountain and he would kick his brother in the head. This was part of his daily sadhana. He would go and kick his brother in the head. Uh, and he would do this, as we said, 12 times a day. Uh, like I said, Sugriv became like that potato. He became just so beaten down by the abuse of his brother that he became just entirely emotional and such. And then one day, he was expecting that kick to come, and he looks up and he sees the foot just a few inches from his face. But he sees Hanuman has Bali in his hand, in his grasp, like a death grip. and uh, and Bali is so afraid because now this is another personality is much more powerful. Um, and Hanuman had been sent by the sun god to serve Sugriv, and but still, I don't remember the reason, but they were still kind of banished to this area. Uh, so Sugriv is always living in fear. Hanuman, he deals with fear, um, but Bali he's living with fear. There's a folk story of Krishna and Balaram. There was one time a monster that came while they were Balaram was Krishna was resting and Balaram was taking guard, and the monster said, "Rawr!" and then and Balaram went, "Ah!" And the monster said, "Rawr!" And Balaram, and every time Balaram got scared, the monster would get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then he left. And then Krishna took guard, and Balaram took a nap. And then um, the monster came, "Roar!" And Krishna said, "What do you want?" And the monster got smaller. And then the monster went, "Arr!" Krishna said, "What do you want?" The monster got smaller. And this way, Krishna just took the little monsters, tucked it in his stony. And then when Balaram wrote, he said, "Were you troubled by this monster at the night time or when we were resting?" He said, "Are you talking about this little guy here?" And so he represents, say, when we have these fear, these problems, when we don't address them, they get bigger. We become afraid of them. They just get bigger and bigger. They become a bigger problem. But when you address it, they become smaller, smaller. Like we don't, maybe we have, who here hasn't addressed the monster of taxes? They haven't done their taxes yet, but it's just getting bigger. His problem is getting bigger. You better address it. It's like, just deal with it, and you won't have to deal with it again until it comes next year. But it's coming all the time. So he was always living in fear, and then he heard that these powerful brothers are on the horizon, and he's thinking, "Oh my God, some princes are here. They're here to kill me. Vali's here to send these princes to kill me." He can't come here. Maybe he sent these princes to kill me. And but Hanuman goes out there. He says, "No, no, they exude dharma from their being, and they look like they're sorrowful. That they're pushing themselves to move on because they lost something very dear." You could see how perceptive Hanuman is. There, he said, "Okay, go. Uh, you have this power of Kama Rup. You can change your form. Go there as a human being, and go see what's going on." And so Hanuman disguised himself as a bhikshu sannyasi, old beggar sannyasi. Yeah. Ravana also disguised himself as a sannyasi, but when Ravana describes himself as a sannyasi to kidnap Sita, he disguised himself as a parirajikacharya sannyasi, a sannyasi with great entourage and power and wealth and opulence. He this is but Hanuman, he disguised himself as a beggar sannyasi with nothing. So when you see a beggar in the forest, you're like, what is this? Then Ram is like wondering, why is a sannyasi who's a beggar in the forest? Why would you be in the forest if the scene doesn't fit? And as soon as as he saw Ram, his whole body was trembling. And then he bows to Ram. And then Ram's like, why? I am a prince. Why is a sannyasi bowing to me?
We can't hear you.
Sorry. Can you hear me? Hello? Hear me? Okay.
Yes,
Yes, we
Prabhu.
can.
There we go. Okay. So he asks, why do you have a diamond necklace? And he says, wait, you can see that? Diamond necklace? You can see it? And he said, yes. He said, this was given to me by, was it Brahma Surya? I think it was Brahma. He said, when the person who is your master, he will be able to see. He said, Lakshman, you can see the diamond necklace. He's like, no, 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 I don't see this diamond. He said, that is your master. And so he immediately surrendered. He said, actually, his mother told Hanuman, he said, you don't have to look for your master. He will come looking for you. And when you find him, just surrender unto him. And so Hanuman, he took, now they could see, like, Ram could see whoever this person is, he he knows all the Vedas. I can tell just by his speech. He knows Atharva Veda because his vinyata, his humbleness, is a sign of knowing the Atharva Veda. His vocabulary, his preciseness of syllables and everything. He knows Yajurveda. Yeah, he bring Rig Veda represents to be able to manifest things powerfully. He brings such a presence when he speaks. He must know Rig Veda, and he speaks so sweetly. Actually, Hanuman was such a person that if you're there ready to attack him with a sword, he could just speak to you, and you're like, oh, he just is so sweet, sweet sounding Samaveda. His words were like a song, and so his so he Sugriv Hanuman says, "I'm a messenger of Sugriv." He's like you. He lost his wife. He lost his kingdom. I think you will be good compatriots. You will be good together. Uh, uh, why don't I take you to him? Now, Ram being a king, it's not natural for the king to like go chase somebody. Actually, the people go to the king for help. But he said, no, no. He's like when someone is so sick that the doctor has to actually go visit them. They've lost any kind of motivation. You will have to bring you to him. So jump up, get on my back. I'll fly you there. And so he jumps them there. And uh, Sugriv, he also disguises himself as a human being, although it's not necessary. But he's actually the reason he disguises himself because he's actually uncomfortable who he is. He's not comfortable with his. And he goes up and he shakes Ram's hand. Hanuman's like, what do you, you think you're a human? Come on, why are you going to shake his head? You should be bowing at his feet. Sugriv, he's little like us, uncomfortable, surrendering. We don't want to have someone higher than us, greater than us. Well, we want to establish. No, no, no. You're either below me, or at least you're near my equal. Oh. And so he shakes his hand. He's thinking he's a human. Uh, he doesn't. You feel that he wants to come take shelter, but he needs to. He really needs to. And Sugriva is this person who was constantly oscillating in his like in his acceptance of Ram's shelter and his trust that Ram can actually be there for him. Uh, and this is actually one of the reasons that Sita picked Sugriv. Actually, when Sita was flying over, being kidnapped by Lunk, she saw Sugriv and she threw that pouch down of jewels, of her jewelry, specifically Sugriv, because he was in this. Um, she could have threw it to Vali. He was very powerful, you know, but he was full of pride. But Sugriv was in this stage where uh, he he was lost, he was helpless, and he said, "Okay, this is the person. He's the one. He's the right one." And so Sugriv brought out the pouch. And she brought it to Ram. Ram, and can you tell us, are these the jewels of Sita? And so Ram started opening the pouch, and his eyes started flooding tears. And he's like, I can't see. I can't see the jewels. He's just like, he couldn't even see it because his eyes were flooding tears. And so he asked his brother Lakshman, can you identify? Because I can't even see everything. Everything is a glaze. My eyes are flooding with tears. And so Lakshman says, "Well, I cannot tell." He's looking at it. He says, "I cannot tell you who are Sita's armlet, her bangles, her necklace. All I know is her anklets. I've never looked beyond her lotus feet." This is the reverential mood of Lakshman. And now Sugriva is saying, "Okay, this is what a human is. This difference between a monkey and a human." Bali, his brother, stole his wife. And then Lakshman, the brother of Ram, is so reverential, he doesn't even look beyond the feet of Sita Devi. He's so respectful and reverential. He said, yes, these are her lotus anklets that I meditate on. And actually, these cantos, each one has a particular name. There's Balakanda, Yudhya. They're all like related to the activities. But there is one kanda that there's one section of the uh, that it has the name Sundar Kanda. They're like, okay, what is the rest makes sense. You know, this is the one that they fight. This is the section that Krishna's a Bala, and he's young. This is that section. But what is the Sundarkanda? Sundarkanda means beauty. But then and it's so what is it? What That's not an activity. What's going on there? And it's the beauty of the devotee, the beauty of his devotee Hanuman. And what is his beauty? It's his qualities. Actually, there's a nice verse in the Niti Sastra. Narasya bharanam rupam. Narasya bharanam rupam. What is the ornament of a human? The first thing they can have is beauty. That's a very, very wonderful thing. But even more ornamental than that, rupasya bharanam gunam is having good qualities. But then even more uh, ornamental than that, gunasya bharanam jnanam is the having knowledge. Actually, the qualities may go away if you don't have knowledge. And uh, jnanasya bharanam kshama is to have the culmination of that is to have a forgiveness, have a good heart. And so this is the quality uh, of Hanuman. He has this very powerful, beautiful heart. And so Sugriv, he had all these doubts. He would sometimes he said he was, it's like, okay, if you can help me, then prove that you're powerful. My brother Bali killed the demon Dundubihi, very, very powerful demon. And he threw his body 800 miles, 100 yojanas. So Ram said, okay. And Ram flicked his body with his foot and it flew, the same distance or even further. And then Bali, Sugriva was like, well, now it's a dead body. Before it was full of flesh, it was heavier. Um, can you shoot an arrow through these trees? In this way, he is constantly doubting the protection, the ability of the Lord. Actually, in the Bhagavad Gita, there's a very famous verse. I think it is it 440? For the doubting soul, there's neither happiness. Agyash ashadadanascha. Uh, this is a verse that Vasudev, he was able to give me some nice purport to. Um, So if you see this verse, of course, we find in our philosophy, everything seems very reasonable. We're not pushing it's not uh, an imperative. We're asking you to believe. You have to believe it. If you don't believe it, you're a bad person and you're going to go to hell. But then you find this verse and it says, for a doubting soul, there's neither happiness in this world nor the next. But then the Bhagavad Gita is full of doubts. 9 chapters start with a question, and the other 9 chapters start with an implied question. Oh, I think I've ran out of time. Um, so we'll finish that. So the doubting soul, agyashachana danascha. Let's see. We find that you have the first class as agya, one who doesn't have knowledge. Oh, here comes the kanch. Hari Hari Bo.
Thank you, Nityananda Chandra. Prabhu, please stay during the afterglow. We want to hear about these types of souls.
Yes.
Darshan time, please. Cameras on if you can.
Ram.
Tamaham bhajami Govindam Adipurusham bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham bhajami Andaniyasya sagala Shri Avitivanti Kayanti Andanasanmaya Sadhu Govindam Aripurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusha Tamaham Bhajami Adipurusha Adipurusha Govinda
Harbo.
Jai.
Thank you, Maya. Jai Shishurana Mulidhar. Shigara Chandra. Welcome to the Afterglow. Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, thank you so much for leaving time for questions during the Afterglow. Okay, so what are the types? I want to
Okay,
know my
so
type.
yes, yeah, Bhagavad Gita 440. So agya shashadadanas chashadadanas cha shamshayat vinashati. So we 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 honor the Bhagavad Gita that, oh, this is a book that's not saying you just have to believe it. It's full of it's this openness of questions. But then it says here, oh, one who is a doubter is, neither happiness in this world nor the next. And so it's described that there's three classes that are being indicated here. You have the agyas, the one who doesn't know anything, that doesn't have scriptural knowledge, doesn't have any information. That's misfortunate. That's unfortunate. Then you have shadadanas. You have someone who does know, but doesn't have any. They're like a scholar. They don't believe it at all. They don't believe all the scripture. They just, like, they may know that, like there are many scholars who know Vedas, very well. There's scholars who know Srimad Bhagavatam very well, but don't have any faith in it. They're just scholars. There's, they can tell you more about the shlokas, this or that. They can tell you, name the different associates of Lord Chaitanya. You don't even know all this stuff, but they don't have faith in it. That's misfortunate. But then you have those who know the the scripture and believe in the scripture, but do not necessarily trust that Krishna is going to uh, reach out and respond to them. And therefore, there's a unwillingness to give themselves to Krishna, even though they accept the worldview, but they don't necessarily trust in the Lord. And that is the person who's most unfortunate. And so that's what's being indicated here. Is someone who already believes this stuff, but doesn't necessarily have trust in the Lord. And so if we engage in devotional service, then we actually gain trust because, as Srila Prabhupada wrote, my spiritual masters, His Holiness Prahlādananda Swami, uh, Krishna is never ungrateful in our efforts to serve him. Rest assured, we will actually experience his reciprocity, and then that trust will come. So yeah, we want to see. We don't want to be just like Sugriv, always in doubt. But if we're like Sugriv, at least we have someone like Hanuman. We can have some great devotee. We can get their association and set us on the right track, like Sugriv was being set us on the right track. We definitely don't want to be like Bali, thinking everything is by my own powers, because he was ultimately just lived a miserable, bitter, hard life, like the boiled egg. He started off nice and soft, but he became all hard. So we don't want to be like that. So we have to figure out what kind of monkey we want to be, and if we want to be a human or we want to be just a monkey. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Nityananda Chandra Prabhu. I love the potato, egg, coffee bean analogy, and so many other things in your class. Thank you. Okay. Adipurusha Prabhu, would you like to comment on class? Would you like to? No? Why not? Would you like to say how
Well,
wonderful is Krishna?
well, I prayed to Prabhupada what to say. The verses were extraordinary about, it's a little difficult because I'm out in the rain. The verses were extraordinary about different ways that Krishna manifests himself, and so many of them, subtle, gross. And then where does that go? Glorifying Krishna, and then um, the the point of our Shastra, the Vedanta, is therefore let us serve Krishna. He's so wonderful. That's all. That's it's hard to contribute to John Booth's classes. They're so expansive and full of information. But just based on the verses today and with what the conclusion is, uh, let's give ourselves to Krishna's service and offer it to others. Okay, I'll go to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Adipurusha Prabhu. Krishna Kumari has her hand up.
Yeah, thank you for class. So engaging. I love Ramyan, Ram Leela. I also am very intrigued by the two verses that you spoke on. They both have a lot
Morning.
of power, and especially this second part talking about the different airs. I just shared in the comments about the 10 kinds of airs, but this Prabhupada disciple Balavi, she's kind of like your Guru Maharaj. She's really into health, natural health, and I shared with her this book, The Cosmic Heart, my neighbor wrote. He's proven that actually the heart is not a pump. We're not mechanical. And so this kind of idea of these different airs, the warmth, vitality, mental power, physical strength, endeavor, and movement, that's what it creates, this vortex, the alive blood that moves the blood through the body.
Isn't there a purport of Srila Prabhupada like that, where he talks about how the blood gets energized? as it passes through the heart. There's a verse about that, purport.
Well, that's where I found 2:7 in that purport. I shared it in the comments, but yeah,
Oh, okay,
I
yeah.
would love to talk more about this because I think this is like really engaging. And then yeah, the second verse I thought was just so empowering, like how we're actually communicating not with words but by the heart. Like you can actually be with somebody that you don't even know, and there's all these exchanges that are going on, of the heart space.
Especially with somebody you do know,
Yeah.
like 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 you're sitting next to your spouse and you're like, Shh, can you calm it down? And then you're like, I didn't say anything, but I can hear your head going and he's like, yes, that's right. My head's going like that right now. I can hear it. It's like ah.
So yeah, this neighbor of mine also wrote a book called The Contagion Myth, and the his name's Dr. Tom Cowan. He's quite a lovely person. I've given him Bhagavad Gita. We've discussed great things, but yeah, even the idea that when you're with people, they've never found any germ. I'm not germ. Virus. They've never isolated a virus, but basically if I yawn, you might yawn, how the bodies sync up, like they communicate with each other. And so it's like that with health. If I'm like sick or I have my period, my girlfriend might get hers, like you're detoxing, then this body thinks, oh, I'll detox too. So it's like that actually our bodies do communicate, our hearts communicate with each other, and like that we kind of we can affect each other even without words speaking like that. Anyway, lots of great stuff here in this Bhagavatam. I'm just, and of course Jai Ram, Hanuman.
Sure. Thank you, Krishna Kumari. Thank you for showing us Janardhan Prabhu briefly.
He's just
That's
doing
very,
his artik.
yeah, that's very sweet. There he is, Janardhan Prabhu ki jai.
He does exist.
Good. Thank you, Krishna
In my
Kumari.
heart.
Thank you. Jeffrey Eckler Prabhu, can you try to yawn? Let me see if I yawn. Let me see if we're connected.
that was a good fake yawn.
Yeah, I see the connection there. Thank you, Jeffrey Prabhu.
Never yawn to Ramayan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we can speak about Krishna's the whole battle between Lord Shiva and then he brings out the ultimate weapon is this yawning weapon that he brings out at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like win the fight.
Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, we can
Any other
find
questions, comments, reflections?
yeah, but
Ramayan. Jeffrey Hackler.
Okay, dear devotees, we need an introverted person's comment, please. If you feel introverted, unmute yourself and say something in line with Guru Sadhan Shastra. Krishna Gauda is asking if Shuka Maharishi is still walking this earth.
Is that Shukadev Goswami?
Mm, I guess. I guess. Yeah,
Yeah,
Shukadev Goswami.
I haven't heard him as a Chiranjiva. I haven't heard his name as one of the Chiranjivas. No. Hanuman, yeah, he's here. Ashvatthama. There's one one description as Ashvatthama becomes purified and he becomes the next Vyasadeva. Can you imagine that?
Ashwatthama,
Yes,
the one who killed
the bad guy.
yeah, oh wow.
Apparently,
What
it's
yeah,
there.
what will Jeffrey Eckler become? If a bad guy becomes next Brahma, I can only imagine.
Uh,
Okay, so Rob has his hand up.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
right.
So, question for you is, I have many, but one, the mindset. I think you kind of hinted to it. sometimes I often find myself saying Puja Bhakti Mena Janu Janu Tera Naam. So meaning that means I know Hari, like he resides within my heart, Krishna, Govinda, but I don't know Puja Bhakti. So like sometimes the mind wants to say, hey, I'm so close to you, I'm right here, so much devotion. And so kind of alluding to like I don't know what I'm trying to say is if you you don't know Puja Bhakti, but you know Krishna, can you like I don't know, add to that a bit when someone's in that mindset?
Yeah.
And
So
it's been
it's
for years and years and years. And then it's just like it's waiting to explode, right? But
yeah.
then it still comes down to the love that I have, but I don't know puja. Like I like reading the Gita, I've tried for years, right? To read it.
So we want to approach with a humble mood that I don't know you. I'm so far. Please let me closer. I really want to know you. That's as George Harrison sang. So we want to have that mood, like, uh, not that a casual, like, yeah, yeah, he's in my heart. I'm, you're thinking of me. I'm thinking of you. I know you. You know me. But rather, I really want to know you, and I want to be. Uh, your darshan means I want you to see me. Not I don't want to see you. I want you to see me. Therefore, I'm going to serve in such a way that I'll capture your glance. And that's what we're aiming for, is to try to capture the Lord's glance with our humble service.
Wow, that's a great way of putting it. Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Jai, thank you very much. Dear Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, everyone who participated in this yagya, Amrita Kishori Devidasi, please unmute yourself and say Hare Krishna. You will be the finisher today. Please, Amrita Kishori.
Hare Krishna.
How sweet. How sweet. Thank you so much. Shrimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Lord
Yeah.
Ramachandra ki jai, Nityananda Chandra ki jai, all the monkeys ki jai.
Yeah.
Don't let your heart just be the pump. Let it be a flower. Give it to Krishna, not just a pump. Thank you, Nityananda Chandra Prabhu. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.